A Hero Rises shapes the meta for the next year, and these are the past winners that have changed the game. How will we shape things this year? So, who should you vote for? This banner will have 3 reds and 1 colorless, as long as Fallen Edelgard doesn't win. But everyone has different goals for these banners. Do you need fodder? Do you want one of the most powerful one-off units you can get? Do you want a merge project? All of those are different and they all have different priorities. We're gonna try to cover them all, but I wanted to look at summoning first. And the biggest thing I want you to notice here is to get a red off of their original banner is cheaper than to get one of these red units off of this banner. Now, the big difference is the pity breakers you'll get along the way. It's huge. Think of legendary Byleth from last year. So many folks were not targeting him, but ended up getting him and ended up making him a merge project. And I have seen him become such a core piece of so many barracks. It's kind of fantastic, and this is fantastic value. So let's dive into that a little more. Now, the cost difference between, say, if you wanted to +10 Summer Edelgard on this banner versus her original release is about 87 orbs if you don't factor in Feh Pass. If you have Feh Pass, it's about 250 orbs cheaper if you were to get her on her original banner. That is pretty significant, but you do get a lot more 5 stars along the way, and the red pool this time is going to be quite good. If you look at colorless, it's actually about a wash if you have Feh Pass. If you don't, it's about 154 orbs difference if you're merging these units up. For legendaries and mythics, the difference is pretty huge though. For Veronica, for instance, you're saving about 200 orbs, and for Fomortiis, you are saving a whopping 600. Now that savings obviously goes down if you're talking about having the Feh Pass versus not, but still, this is pretty incredible. Just remember that red isn't going to be as great because essentially it almost is a legendary banner. There are 3 reds on there. This is still quite good, and I think you guys are gonna get a lot of value out of this. But let me know in the comments, who are you rooting for? I really wanna know. I am undecided and I would love to hear you guys' opinions, but we're gonna talk about each one of these units and why you would summon for them. Okay, we're gonna go in vote order, and we're going to talk about each mode that this unit can contribute in, as well as how good their fodder is, how good they are as a one-off, and how good they are as a merge project. And Summer Edelgard is pretty danged amazing. She won the votes this time, and she is a dual-phase brave weapon. She has damage reduction, she has great bulk with a min-max stat line, she has Assault Troop, which solves a lot of armor mobility issues, she has bonus doubler as a harmonic skill, she gets 3 possible actions if you have Gale Force on her, and she has a lot of build flexibility. She can be a Gale Force unit, she can be a nuke, she can be a savior. She really does a lot of things. Now, I'm showing you a couple clips here of her on AR offense because I think that's really where she shines. But if you look at a mode like Arena, she scores the same as about the latest score bots in Lumera and Hans at about 760. And at base kit, this unit is an absolute monster and owns this mode. Hit and run is a powerful strategy in Arena and not to be trifled with. It is something that if you can pull off is amazing. The problem is Assault Troop doesn't score, and it drops her to 758 if you have that equipped. Without mobility, she is much, much harder to use, and that's why I have her at a 3 right here. Now, if you look at AR offense, this is the premier Gale Force initiator, and she is head and shoulders above the next one. Now, she needs a team around her, but it's worth it. I have a whole video singing her praises if you want to look at the Gale Force guide that I did. On air defense, it's not quite as stellar. She's still powerful, but can't get the same support as a melee initiator. But she can also be a good savior. Overall, there are other units that do that role better, and I gave her about a 3 on defense. For summoner duels, she's an excellent dual phase threat. At max investment, she can be a savior unit, but units really need to be on the bleeding edge, and she's not. The other thing is she has no piercing, so any kind of damage reduction is going to harm her damage output. and that's why I gave her a 3. As far as Farter goes, attack defense ideal is good. Assault Troop is amazing and it's very rare, but there aren't really a whole lot of units that want this skill. So she earned a 3. Now, looking at her value. As a one-off, this unit is absolutely stellar and a 5 all the way. If you want to look at a similar track, and please don't throw things at me, Fallen Edelgard is a good unit to look at as far as longevity. It has been 2 years since Fallen Edelgard released and she's still going. She's still a very useful unit who is a contributor. Is she at the top of her game? No, but it's been 2 years. Now, she doesn't really need merges is the thing, unless you want her to be a far savior. But as we've talked about, there are other units that can contribute better at that role. I love unique, gimmicky units, and Fomortiis is just that. I'm so tempted to go after this unit, but I have been burned by Sothis and Leaf, and I just don't know if I can invest in another defense mythic. But this is the most unique enemy phase armor in the game. Turn Denial is incredibly powerful, although you do sacrifice bulk for effects, and we're going to talk about that in the Aether Raid section. Now, I'm playing some clips from Summoner Duels and Aether Raid's defense, and yeah, this unit is just stellar. In Arena, he doesn't really stand up to the absolute elite nukes like Legendary Veronica or Legendary Shez, but who does? He does score 762, which is good, but he can only be blessed every other season, which is bad. So you can use him every other season and have a blast, but he does have armor movement issues. It's not as bad with saviors, especially if they're capable, but it is there. The other piece is, as time goes on, enemy phase units don't generally age as well as, say, supports or nukes. So he earned a 4 here. As far as AR offense goes, the problem is you don't really want to shut off units as a savior on offense. You want to destroy them. What happens is if you shut them off, then they hang around and you get sniped or something happens like they time you out. All of those things can happen, and the other thing is you can only use this unit in Chaos Season. On AR defense, he is an excellent near savior. For Far Savior, he really needs to be on his bonus weeks because you just don't get enough bulk otherwise. But keep in mind, those come few and far between now because each one of these mythics will get 4 seasons as a bonus unit. So every time a new one comes up, they take a huge chunk of time. That's 2 months. But ultimately, this unit can't get mythic buffs, and because of that, you worry about aging. Nightmare will keep him in the game longer, and he really needs Hardy Fighter, but still, 4 is an excellent score. This unit is a good unit. I do worry about longevity. In Summoner Duels, this unit is made for this mode. This unit is game-changing and manipulates the action economy, and I mean, that's all I need to say. Is this unit hard to keep alive? I probably will be harder as time goes on, but I think it's worth it. Just for this neat gimmick, it's really good. Anyway, 5 is where I've got him there. For fodder, I gave him a 3, and Beast follow-up is rare but niche, and Far Savior has become very common, but it's still really good. Anyway, as far as value as a one-off, I think this is going to be a dominant near savior for at least a year. If you look at how defensive mythics age though, your best case you're looking like at a Medeus, who's still going strong after 9 months. Worst case, you're thinking about Duma, who is really only meta relevant for about a year. After that, he comes and goes, but ultimately you'd rather have another unit and you're using him because you have him merged up or he's a bonus. But still, this is excellent as a one-off, or preferably a +1, and a 4 is a very good score. I don't think this is a fantastic merge project because defense mythics just aren't valued as much as other types of units. Offensive mythics contribute to your score much more directly, and obviously legendaries have arena to go into. Defense mythics, I have Leaf and Sothis. Yeah, 3's about right for this unit. Oh, the immortal Chrom. This is a year-old unit, and he's still the most influential unit in the game. This is a faux refresher. It's a very good nuke, a great score bot, a good support, and I'm showing you clips from Arena here where he really excels. But I mean, he excels in most modes. In Arena Duels, as I just said, I mean, is there a unit you want more than Duo Chrom right now? I know that will change. I know it's coming. But right now, he's the unit that you want at +10. He's absolutely phenomenal. On Aether Raid's offense, the only reason I don't have him higher is because slots on offense are just so competitive. This unit can do a lot and is a refresher and helps with your cooldown. There are just other units that you'd rather have there, and that puts him at about a 3. On defense, the defensive unpredictability of To Change Fate is just phenomenal and makes teams better, no matter where he goes. The other thing is IS continues to give infantry units amazing skill. Special Spiral is a recent example here and has really upped Chrom's game as if he needed it. I've got this unit as a 5 just because you want this unit on your defense. For Summoner Duels, this is probably trending down. In fact, not probably. This is probably a 5 on the verge of a 4. But this is still an amazing unit. He efficiently increases the range of the other units around him by that To Change Fate. Also, he helps with special spamming, which is the most powerful strategy in the mode currently. But you have to account for him on every team. Every Far Savior you have, the question is, can this unit survive Legendary Chrom? If the answer is no, you're probably not using that unit. As far as fodder goes, boy, if there was one knock on this unit, this is so mediocre. Not many units want close salvo. They just, yeah. Lull attack defense is not premium and neither is Time's Pulse. Gave this unit a 2 there. Honestly, how long will this unit stay relevant? I give him 2 more years just because he has so many different things that he can do. Take a look at Legendary Chrom. Legendary Chrom is not dominant, but still very usable. And I'm not talking about Fallen Edelgard usable. Legendary Chrom is still very good in a lot of different modes. As a one-off, I give this unit a 5 because I want this unit in my barracks in some shape or form. It's just fantastic. But the other thing is this unit is still an amazing merge project. Again, are there other units that are going to take up this mantle? Yes, but this is still one of the most valuable units in this game, and that's why he gets a 5. Fallen Edelgard. Here's the meme vote. Keep in mind this unit still contributes, but you just have better units that you could have picked than this. I'm showing you some of DTM's highlights. DTM has this ability to take old units and revamp them into new and powerful things, and he has done this with Fallen Edelgard, and honestly, she performs really well. But in Arena, she's on the very edge of not scoring enough with 758, and honestly, she just doesn't hit hard enough. Armor movement is a huge issue in that mode right now, and I give her a 1. On air offense, I did give her a 2. She has access to 3 actions, and that's still good, but she's a second initiator at best, and there are so many units that can perform that role. On air defense, she's just not bulky enough, and she's at a 1. On Summoner Duels, definitely a 1, and just don't do it. I up until at least 6 months ago, I still saw people putting her together and using her, but power creep has gotten to the point where she's just not a Summoner Duels unit. For fodder, attack defense ideal is too common, and Armored Stride was never great, and Assault Troop is so much better. I gave her a 1. As a one-off, as a +10, I don't want her as either, honestly. She was a fun unit in her time. For a banner like this, though, I give her 1s there. This is just a unit that has passed her prime. Ninja Camilla is one of my favorite units to play with. She's so much fun. She does have a res-based Vantage condition, but that's actually not a bad thing. If you think about it, if the unit has enough res to outdo Camilla, then Camilla probably wasn't going to kill her anyway. But she has a dual-phase Brave weapon, the second on this banner. She's a dual-phase threat. I'm showing some Aether Raids clips because I think that's where she really shines, but she does well in several different modes. In Arena, she has excellent performance, but she just doesn't score enough. I've been stalemated by this unit. Her bonus season was a real pain. 756 is, you can make it work, but it's not gonna be good for long. I mean, keep in mind, our score bots right now are 760, and those are the GHBs. For Aether Raid's offense, I gave her a 4. The only reason she's not a 5 is because Hardy Bearing is such a hard counter to this unit. Now, there are things you can do if you have Sather, for instance. I've actually been able to shut off the Hardy Bearing unit or the unit with sweeps. It's really kind of fun, but there are these units that you definitely have to watch out for, and it makes her not able to do certain maps, period. But the maps she does, she absolutely solos. She does need a team around her, but she scales very well with supports, as most Brave users do. For defense, I gave her a 2. She can perform here, but the offensive mythic buffs make her easier to deal with, and that's not great. For Summoner duels, I think she's very adaptable. She has flyer mobility, dual phase, but Hardy Bearing is really common in that mode. And so I gave her a 4. She's not a primary nuke, but she is an excellent secondary one. As far as her fodder goes, I gave her a 3. Close salvo just isn't great. I do like Seal Res 4 very, very much. It's a great skill. It's guard and debuffs in your B, and particularly for flyers, there just aren't a whole lot of choices. Attack Res Hold is an excellent skill and can be supportive as well as help this unit out, but you're not going out of your way for any of this fodder. So this unit is an excellent one-off, and you're looking for an arc. Look no further than Winter Altina, who still contributes in a lot of big ways, and I use Winter Altina quite a bit. But know that Vantage comes in and out of the meta quite a bit, and so her usability will be phased in and out as Hardy Bearing goes. I mean, for a one-off, this has got to be a 4. She only needs 2 stats, attack and res, and that's amazing. But she doesn't scale real well with merges, and she's not rewarded in scoring modes. So I gave her a 3 as a merge project. The other problem is she doesn't have piercing, and her long-term usage will be hurt by that. And honestly, if you're a Camilla fan, you don't want her to win. I know that sounds funny, and you still want her to beat Fallen Edelgard, but if she wins, the prevalence of Hardy Bearing will go way up, and strangely enough, she will be less useful. Rearmed Ophelia is a weird unit to rank, because overall, she's just not special. In this video, I'm showing you her fodder. This is my special Spiral Chrom, who just absolutely owns things, but in Arena, this unit, I mean, she scores 754, and that's not enough right now. In AR offense, she doesn't stand out at all. It's another 1. On AR defense, please don't use her on AR defense. In SD, it's the same, and this is starting to look like Fallen Edelgard's rankings, right? For fodder though, and that's when we really talk about this, I just cannot state enough how amazing this unit's fodder is. And a lot of that has to do with how many new skills infantry units have gotten. Rearmed Heroes as a fodder repository have gained a lot of value, which kind of goes against the initial thinking that you never summon for fodder. This is the exception to that rule. Every piece of her fodder is amazing, with Attack Res Finish 4, Special Spiral 4, which is the B skill right now. Times Pulse is okay, but you can give her Times Pulse 4. The only thing that's really holding her back is the 4 inherit limit, and I'm really hoping for an increase sometime around here. So we look at value, and this is really bizarre. As a one-off, this unit is really terrible because you want to be able to use her fodder over and over again. As a plus 10, this unit is really good. Like, this is a 5 as a merge project, just because of all the fodder you'll be able to get out. This is such a weird rating though. I can't fault you for voting for this unit because the fodder is just so good. So we have another rearmed unit in Robin here, and this is a really unique one because this is a speedy armor that can actually compete with the really fast units that are out there right now. She has an absolutely fantastic preference A skill. The other thing is you can fodder her and keep her. God, I loved rearmed units. So I'm showing you some highlights from Aether's offense because I think that's where she really shines, but we're gonna talk about Arena for a little bit. This unit scores the same as Duo Chrom. DC for dragons bumps her score and has great utility. The only knock is she has armor mobility, but we've talked about the fact if you can function as a near savior for most units, then you are good enough to keep. The big thing is she can't run Hardy Fighter and a defensive special. They have not put out a high scoring defensive special out just yet, but I mean, that may be coming. And if that happens, she will actually gain value in Arena, and she's already to 4. That's pretty high. As far as offense goes, she's excellent as a near savior, she's excellent as a far savior, and she complements really any non-Embla team. You can also use her as an Omni tank though, if you so desire. Now, the big thing though is she outspeeds Brave Seliph, which is probably the fastest unit in the game if you look at effective speed. That is something that's pretty spectacular and can be utilized in any matchup. For AR defense, I think she's an excellent near savior and it's really just one step below Brave Edelgard. The thing is she just can't get the same buffs that she can get on offense, and sometimes she suffers from that. But still, I gave her a 4 because I think she's an excellent contributor in this mode. In Summoner Duels, Miracle Robin is pretty fantastic, but she does have dragon and armor effectivity that can be lobbied against her, which is not great. The other thing is you have lots of choices, and this unit isn't an elite Summoner Duels unit. Fodder, she's a rearmed unit. She gets both armor skills and dragon skills, both which can be very rare. And I mean, how do you give this unit anything but a 5? This unit is an absolutely fantastic fodder unit. I don't think this unit is a fantastic one-off. I gave her a 3. I really think she needs the merges for the extra stats. The other thing I'm worried about long-term is the amount of speed creep recently has just been absolutely insane, and this unit really needs her speed in order to perform. Because of that reliance on that stat, I really only give her a year that she's still good. Again though, I think she's an excellent merge project. I think she benefits a lot from the merges, and I give her a 5 here. Legendary Veronica is a meta-defining nuke right now. She has conditional sweep, she has a piercing special, which is amazing and can be very tough to tank. I've got some Summoner Duels and ARD highlights playing because I really like her there best, but let's talk about Arena first. Now, I've given her a 5 here because she blows up everything. This is the best win legendary by far. She has one job, but she does it so well. On air offense, I think she's less good, and that's mainly because of being seasonally locked. She is an excellent tank buster, and I have been just absolutely bullied by her, but the score hit means a lot more on offense than it does on defense if you have to use her out of season. Speaking of defense though, you use this unit regardless of season, she's that good. She forces defenses to adapt, and she defeats a lot of problem units. She defines the meta right now, and I know that won't last for long because power creep is power creep, but she's still going to be good with that special. Enclosure makes her an excellent unit, so I obviously gave her a 5 for defense. I gave her a 5 in Summoner Duels as well. I think she is just absolutely fantastic, and the sweep skill is so clutch. She just blows things up, and she absolutely loves to be with Catria. That sounds like a weird thing because a lot of nukes are better because they're next to Catria, but this unit with Bridal Catria defeats everything. I think the only unit that can stand up against this unit is Kel, and a very invested Kel at that. This unit is very good and has a lot of range. Yeah, Summoner Duels, this is a great unit. Fodder. Attack speed catch is fantastic. Speed res trace is really great. Panic smoke 4, I would love to have this on more units. I mean, it debuffs the enemy and it buffs your team. It's fantastic. I gave her a 4 for fodder because none of these are really just eye-poppingly, I need this now, but they're all really good. As far as value goes, this unit is amazing one-off. I give her a 5 here. You should have one in your barracks. Just don't forget that merged legendaries took a huge hit, and they don't have the same value that they used to. That's why I gave her a 3 here. Still, this unit performs most of what she needs at low merges, and if you wanted to vote for this unit, I think this would be a great unit for your barracks. Absolutely fantastic. So I wanted to talk about performers in individual modes, because there are a lot of different reasons you summon here, as we discussed. I mean, do you need Ophelia to give your entire barracks special spiral? Or do you need a cheaper mythic in Fomortiis to really show up for you? There are different reasons. If you need a unit for a specific mode, though, these are going to be the units for you. Now, in Arena, I think this is pretty obvious, but Chrom is just your unit. To Change Fate will stay good for a very long time. I love this unit, and yeah, this is the one you should vote for if you need an Arena merge project. For AR offense, it's got to be Edelgard. Summer Edelgard is fantastic for that mode, and we talked about it, but she really is head and shoulders above the rest. I guess her and Seliph, like they're right there. Those are very, very good Gale Force units though, and this unit will keep her value for a long time. For defense, I'm going to go with Veronica here. I think this unit is so good in that mode, and I think this unit can really change your game. For summoner duels, it's gotta be Fomortiis. How long will that last? I don't know with that mode. That mode, the meta changes every week, so you never know. Okay, for fodder, it's gotta be Ophelia. I love Robin as well, but Ophelia, because of all of the special things that they've given infantry units, I think she has additional value. Yes, the dragon skills are amazing, but there are fewer units that contribute that you can give those to. Whereas infantry units, I mean, take your pick who wants those skills. There's a long, long list. Now, for one-offs, I'm gonna go with Veronica here. It's very close between her and Edelgard, but I just think as a one-off, I like where Veronica contributes over multiple modes, where I think Edelgard is really an AR offense unit. And lastly, for a merge project, if you're voting for Chrom. You have to. If you're looking for a merge project, this is it. So the last thing I want to look at is value picks, and this is kind of a conglomerate of all of the things we just tallied up. Keep in mind, this is a picture of if you want a unit that contributes in more than just one mode. If you want to invest in a unit that contributes in everything, I mean, you're going to get Chrom, right? I mean, he's a 30 here, but I want to look more at the matchups and looking at value picks between Summer Edelgard and Veronica, which I'm going to get yelled at here. Edelgard fans are a fierce bunch, but I just think Veronica contributes over more areas than Edelgard does. Does that mean you don't vote for Edelgard? It just depends on what you want. Again, if you want an ARO unit, Edelgard's your monster. The next ring in is Fomortiis versus Robin, and this is kind of an interesting one because I think this is two units that don't have a lot of longevity in front of them. I still like Robin more. A lot of that's because of her fodder, but I do think that she's usable in more modes than Fomortiis. But it's very close. 3 points difference is not that big. Now, the next bracket is the really weird one. These are two units. This is Duo Chrom, and he's a year old, and I still think he's one of the best merge projects available. And then you have Ophelia, who is absolutely the best fodder unit in the game. And this is really two conflicting views going up against each other. Keep in mind, they are really pushing us away from +10ing units. The exception is duos right now, so they're kind of the last holdout. And we have Ophelia, which is kind of this new method where you can take the latest fodder and give it to the latest unit. It is an ideological difference there, and I am curious to see who wins. I am very tempted to vote for Ophelia, although most of that is probably because I already have a +10 Chrom. This is a battle to watch though, and it's the one I am most interested in. I wish they were against different people. The last one is Edelgard and Camilla. Summoners, you know what to do. Now, understand, this really isn't a year that you want to dump all your orbs into this banner. This is not like last year where it just had tons and tons of merge projects. This is still a very good banner, but it's good because of all the individual contributors that are there. And that kind of makes it fun, especially with the 4 sparks. That gives you the ability to pick up a lot of these different units, a lot of this different fodder, and I think it's good for the game. I think it can be good for your individual account. But if you're only going for merge projects, I really think your voting goes towards Chrom or Robin. What I would encourage you is I do think this banner, whatever the outcome, is going to be worth it to Spark. By all means, go to the Spark, get whatever units you get there, and I think you'll be happy with that. Now, if you're curious about what I'm talking about with Arena and why legendaries have lost value, you can go see my Arena guide. I think it's a fantastic explanation of that, and I spent a lot of time on that. If you'd like to support the channel, we always appreciate super chats and we love likes. Leave us a comment, come into the Discord, talk. I absolutely love getting to chat with you guys. I hope everything is going well, and may your favorite unit win. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.